Shana Tova, everyone.
Shana Tova.
Come on, you could do better.
Shana Tova.
Don't you mean it? Don't you want a good year? Shana Tova. That's much better. So, I cannot tell a lie. I must admit that I've been having a touch of writer's block for the high holidays. Anybody who knows me, my daughter's about to strangle me, right? And my husband. So at first it was, oh my God, Rosh Hashanah is coming in 4 weeks. What am I going to do? And then it was 3 weeks, then 2 weeks, then 1 week. And I kept looking up to the moon in the sky, and first it was full, and I was feeling all right. And then it was half, and then it was this tiny little sliver, and I found myself pacing. And my rabbi friends start calling me, you have any ideas? No, do you have any ideas? Do you have any ideas? Do you have any ideas? I've been here before. The procrastination, the panic, the writer's block, the self-recriminations. Why did you wait so long? And then the breakdown. Should I type it or should I write it? Oh, I'll write it. But it'll take so long to write longhand, and how do you edit that? No, I'll type it. Oh my God, if I type it, it might sound like an essay. No, that's no good. I'll handwrite it. But it's going to take so long, and how do you edit it if you've written by hand? No, I'll type it. But if you type it, you might start out on the wrong foot, and if you start on the wrong foot, it's not going to go well. I'll write it. I'll type it. I'll write, type, write, type. And I started to sound like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. And right in the middle of my Jack Nicholson impression, a rabbi friend of mine called me and he tells me, he said, Naomi, I started reading an old journal of mine for inspiration, and this was what I wrote to myself. Kol Nidre, in 2 hours, still have nothing. I hate myself. After that conversation, I sat myself down and I wrote myself a pep talk. I remembered that there were actually 8 years when I wasn't doing high holidays as a rabbi. I stopped doing high holidays when my daughter Noah was 6 months old. Year 1, I was elated. We flew to Boston to spend the holidays with my mom. It was beautiful. Year 2, happy as a clam. Year 3, still good. Nice to be a congregant sitting there, taking it all in. What year was I on? Year 4, still happy, kids on my lap, feeling good. But gradually, things started to change. And I'd say it was around year 7 or 8, I'm not sure which, but I remember this vividly, walking out in the middle of a service on Rosh Hashanah and just sobbing in the bathroom. And the tears weren't the tears of, you're a loser. And it wasn't the tears of, I'm jealous of that rabbi who's leading the service. And it wasn't the tears of, I could do better than the guy who's up there. It was simply the anguish of, why have you walked away from your own gift? My gift? I think it's the ability to move people. My mom died this past April during Pesach. And as I was writing out my pep talk, I remember my mother's last words of instruction to me. She said to me, she said, "Naomi, I want you to continue the work you're doing because you were born to do it." In my pep talk, as I was sitting there, I tried to meditate and to visualize that moment when I walked out of the service and was sobbing in the bathroom. Those tears of regret. And then I wrote to myself, I may hate this time of year, the pressure to create, the pressure to say something that matters, but I was born to do this work. And I've been given the rare opportunity to share what I love most with others. So I said to myself and I wrote, "So Naomi, stop fearing it and start feeling it." Well, after my pep talk, I was ready to feel it, but I was still waiting for some inspiration. So last weekend, Rob, Noah, and I went to New York to visit our son Adi, who's now at NYU. We were walking in Greenwich Village when suddenly the inspiration came to me in the middle of the street. Rob and Adi kept walking, and I slipped into a public library, but it was too noisy there, and there were no empty seats. So finally, I was walking around, and I found a deserted muffin shop in Greenwich Village. I bought myself a drink. I sat down at a table. I took out my trusty pen and realized I have no paper. So I run to the woman at the cash register. I say, "Do you have any paper?" "Sorry, we have no paper." But then there's another woman standing behind the counter, and she says, "Well, we've got these muffin bags." I take a bunch of them, and I start tearing them open. This is my paper bag sermon. I wrote, I didn't type. The theme is, it's about not walking away from your blessings. Last February, Nashuvah, on Shabbat at Nashuvah, I was offering a birthday blessing, as I do every time we have Nashuvah, and I said, if it's your birthday in February, please rise. And people stood up, and as I was about to bless them, they started to sit down. And I said, wait a minute, don't sit on your blessing. We finished the service, and then a Nashuvahite, Ivan Menschel, is he here? I don't know if Ivan's here. Not? All right, he'll be here tomorrow. Ivan Menschel, who's a real mensch, he came up to me after services and he said, Naomi, that's a great title for a book. I asked him, I said, what's a great title? He said, don't sit on your blessings. Yes, of course. Don't sit on your blessings. You're not a chicken. Your blessings aren't going to hatch if you keep them to yourself. By the way, we have 6 chickens now. 6. And I just don't know what to say about that. Nashuvah, our challenge in life this year and every year is to figure out how to stop hiding our blessings and uncover a way to share them. If we sit on our blessings, they will atrophy. Why do we sit on our blessings? Simple. Somewhere along the line, somebody told you you weren't good enough. Someone taught you shame, and suddenly you were self-conscious. Like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, suddenly they felt naked, and then they hid. Sharing your blessings means opening yourself up to ridicule. That's why so many rabbis are blocked at the High Holy Days. And I'm not joking about this. My rabbi friend called me at 3 o'clock this afternoon to wish me Shana Tova. And he said to me, he said, Naomi, I've got to read you this email I just got. So I'm not making this up. I just blacked out the names. This is what my rabbi friend got as an email this afternoon. Rabbi, been a while. Hope you and your family are doing well. I am not renewing my membership this year. The reasons are varied, and maybe we'll discuss it one day. The High Holy Day sermons, one of the major reasons I enjoy services, have been weak for a few years now. You did not look good last year. You gained some weight. You look tired. Good luck in the future to you and the temple. I did not make this up. I said, can I use this in my sermon? He said, go right ahead. I know a talented writer who stopped writing for 10 years because a supposed friend of hers told her that he hated something she wrote. That's how we started sitting on our blessings. That's why people withhold their emotions. What if I say, I love you, but she doesn't reciprocate? What if she says, you seem really nice? We're meant to share our blessings. And by blessings, I don't just mean talents. Love is a blessing. How often over my years in the rabbinate have I heard this at a funeral? He never told me I love you. 10 years ago, I was officiating at a funeral of a man I knew who died in his 60s. His son, in his late 30s, flew in to bury his father. And after the funeral, I sat down beside the son on a bench at the cemetery. And then the son turned to me, and fighting back tears, he said to me, he said, Rabbi, he never told me he loved me. And I said, but he did love you. You should have seen how his eyes would light up whenever he was boasting about you and your accomplishments. He did love you in his own way. And the son looked at me and he said, but why couldn't he just say it? Nashuva, your time, it's a blessing. I tried to reach out to him, but he just wouldn't give me the time of day. Your time is an enormous blessing. Share it. Share your attention. Share your patience. Your money is a blessing for sharing. I was speaking in Seattle 4 years ago, and out of nowhere, a woman came up to me and she said, I so believe in what you're doing at Nashuva, Rabbi. I'd like to make a donation. But before I could open my mouth, she said to me, how is $20,000? I said, thank you. She said, no, thank you. You have no idea how happy it makes me to write this check. By the way, I'd love to make you happy. Your work is a blessing. To be employed, especially in this economy, you know, is a great blessing. But there's more to it than showing up and getting paid. Putting your heart into what you do, that's yours to give. We're not here just to get through the day. We're here to somehow improve the day. Somehow. And I was reading a book recently, and in the book it said that there was a recent study done of hospital janitors who clean bedpans and mop up vomit for a living. Not a very desirable job, would you say? Clean vomit, bedpans. And they found that the rare individuals who saw themselves as part of a team whose goal was to heal people, those people went way beyond their job requirements by trying to brighten up the rooms of very sick patients, by anticipating the needs of doctors and nurses rather than just waiting around for orders. These janitors, they saw their work as a calling and enjoyed it far more than those who saw it as a job, a stinky job at that. When I was telling my brother-in-law, Paul, about my paper bag sermon, he said to me, he said, Naomi, don't forget to thank the person who made your bag in your sermon. I said, what are you talking about? He said, don't you know? There was a big NPR piece about this. On the bottom of every paper bag, it says the name of the person who made that bag. It's true. Look when you get home. The bag manufacturing companies saw that when the person responsible for the bag put his or her name on that bag, productivity and quality went up. So I want to thank you, Marlene Alvarez, from the bottom of my heart, for the beautiful white paper bags you made. In the Bible, when God talks to Abraham, God says to him, Heyeh bracha. Not, I'm going to bless you. Not, you will become a blessed person. But Heyeh bracha, it's an actual command. Be a blessing. And God's hope for Abraham is God's hope for you, and it's God's hope for me, and it echoes through time. Be a blessing. You don't need talent to be a blessing. You need to believe in what's right about you and share it. The American individualist credo, be true to yourself, it isn't the Jewish way. Be true to others, and you'll see your world will expand and flourish around you. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was an article in the New York Times about an African-American woman named Carla Harris. She's one of the highest paid female executives on Wall Street. She works at Morgan Stanley, and she's also a gospel singer. And at first, she was afraid to talk about her singing life at work. She feared that people might think she didn't take her work seriously. So she worked on Wall Street, and she sang gospel at church on Sundays. But then she changed her mind, and she started inviting her colleagues to hear her sing. She sang at Carnegie Hall one night, and the next day a coworker emailed her, and he said, Carla, I want to thank you. I was standing on the subway platform this morning feeling lost and dejected in the middle of rush hour. And then I remembered your song, Holy Ground. And I suddenly saw on that subway platform that I was on holy ground. Soon people from the office started to ask her to pray with them. Precious moments of sanctity in the middle of Wall Street. And then she started to sing at their weddings. At first, she thought to hide her gift, and now she's spreading it. and her world, it's expanding. Carla Harris was talking about herself, and she said, it's not who I am that matters. It's whose I am. And I was just speaking with Chip Murray. He came to talk to rabbis recently. And Chip Murray, who's the pastor for years at the First AME Church in South Central LA, he said, we are gods. We are gods. Not the plural S, the apostrophe S. Everything I am and everything I have, I've been given as a gift to share. To share, Nashuva. Nashuva, it's Rosh Hashanah tonight. And the two most important blessings you have to share on the high holidays are, think about it for a second. The two most important blessings you have to share on the high holidays are, number one, I'm sorry. Don't sit on your sorry. Share it. Gather up your courage. Walk up to the people you've hurt. Pick up the telephone and share the blessing of, I'm sorry. And watch how your world expands. And number two is, I forgive you. Forgiveness, it's a gift that's yours to give and to share. Oh, you can stay with your resentments. You can stew with them and watch your world grow narrow and small. Or you can give a Rosh Hashanah gift to someone you love. I forgive you. I forgive you. And watch how your world expands. It's Rosh Hashanah tonight, Nashuva. Don't sit on your blessings. Heyeh bracha. Be a blessing. Amen and Shana Tova.